Board of Zoning Appeals for August 9th, 2017 is now in session. I would like to introduce the board. To my far left is Todd Goling and Brandon Dines. I am Ivan Valente. To my right is Chris Jarrell and Blair Hamilton. To my far right is Heather Freeman, our zoning inspector. Under the advice of council, we ask that anyone speaking tonight must be sworn in. If you plan on speaking, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help me God. If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. This evening, when presenting your case or commenting, please come to the microphone and state your name and address and confirm that you've been sworn in. Heather, were the legal notices published in a timely manner?
Yes, they were.
Okay, thank you, Heather. Tonight we have one variance appeal. A 3-vote majority is required to either approve or deny that appeal. If a request is denied, you have the right to file an appeal. If this is the case, Heather can help you with filing an appeal. All right. So first is variance number 2017-14. Mr. Christopher Berry is requesting a variance from section 15.03A and table 15.03-1 of the zoning resolution to allow for a second freestanding accessory building that is 192 square feet in lieu of the maximum one permitted for the property located at 6726 Stratford Road and being permanent parcel number 08-8-031-B-00-007-0. Mr. Berry, please come to the podium and present your case.
I want to give you an addition to the original letter that I had in the first packet that you got.
Thank you. Do you have a copy for Heather as well?
Yes. Thank you.
Heather, we'd like to enter this into the appeal.
Okay,
So,
you're welcome.
Am I to begin?
Yeah, whenever you're ready, but please again, for the record, your name and address and confirm you've been sworn in.
All right, my name is Christopher Berry, and my address is 6726 Stratford Road, and I acknowledge that I've been sworn in this evening.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Wanted to obviously apply for the variance to enable me to build a second accessory building, which is going to be used as an art studio. I teach art at Lakeland, going into my 17th year of teaching painting, drawing, and design. And the house I have is pretty small, and the living room is currently the painting studio, which is not working too well. So that's the reason for the extra building. And the way my garage and house are, they're 5 feet apart, and trying to attach them, and there's a picture included in the packet. It's like a really goofy setup. They're actually 5 feet apart. The two corners of the building kind of oppose each other. And I've had a couple of people look at it as far as how to attach them. It's like a puzzle. Nobody knows how to hook up those two roofs and to change the gutter situation. And I also use that space to get a lawn tractor through there because access to the backyard is somewhat limited. And the other reason is to kind of get myself out and away from the house and all the hustle bustle of up on the street and all the other activities. So that's why the request for the variance. And the letter that I just gave you is an addition to the original letter. The first one I called them bullet points, and that is that the building would add to the overall property value. Trying to connect the garage and house would not be beneficial, and I don't think it would be very good use of the property. Second one is I don't believe that the variance is substantial. Total square footage of the proposed structure is 192 square feet. It's like a 12 by 16, and it's well below the total allowable 1,024 square feet. Next point is I believe that the building will add to the overall character of the neighborhood, and I don't believe it will negatively affect any of the adjoining properties. So it's Weaver Buildings, Weaver Barnes. It's a pretty good looking building. I think I included a picture of that too. Next thing on there was the addition of the accessory building would not adversely affect governmental services to the property. I figured if the Navy wants to come and get me for a second tour, they'll be able to get to me. Number 5 on there, when I purchased the house 15 years ago, I wasn't aware of the zoning restrictions on the property. The only thing I learned over the years about buying a house is because I work for a pipeline construction outfit out of Toledo. If you're going to buy a house, make sure there's no pipeline right-of-ways on the property or railroad right-of-ways. This happened to people where they get ready to build a swimming pool in the backyard, and they can't do it because there's a pipeline restriction, 25 foot either side of the line. So I knew about that, so I did check to make sure there was no pipelines in my backyard, but I didn't know about the restrictions on buildings. Next point on there, I believe the accessory building would best resolve the problem for me of having extra space for an art studio. Trying to resolve my situation with an addition to the house would be far too costly to make it feasible. And I've had a couple of builders out to the house. We're talking mega bucks, like 40, 45 grand to make an addition on a house. I went, no. All right. Last thing on there, I believe the variance will preserve the spirit and intent of the zoning resolution, in contrast to a connection of my house and garage, which would be less desirable, and I don't think it would look very good as the two buildings are really not very compatible. I also believe that the desired substantial justice will be achieved by granting the variance. That's it. Thank you.
Ms. Berry, I don't have any further questions, but I'll see if the board has any further questions for you. Anyone? Good?
Nothing.
Nothing. You can please be seated.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here speaking for or against this appeal? If there are no further questions or public comment, the public hearing for variance number 2017-4 is now closed to the public. I will entertain a motion to approve variance number 2017-4.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Open for discussion on the board for us. In my opinion, it's been cut and dry. I think it's trying to do the right thing. He's in a pinch with the garage and the building.
Only a couple hundred square feet.
Yeah,
It's very nice.
very nice studio.
Yes.
Okay.
Very neat handwriting. Very. That's what I was going to ask you.
Okay. Blair, you got
No
any?
comments.
Okay. All right. Well, if there's, the question is on the approval of variance appeal number 2017-14. A yes vote is for the approval of the variance, and no vote denies the variance. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Gollin?
Yes.
Ms. Gerald?
Yes.
Mr. Dines?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
And Mr. Valente?
Yes. Congratulations, your variance has been approved.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
You can feel free to leave it unless you want to
Unless you want to hang out.
Not going to be very exciting, but
It's not going to be exciting.
no, not like some of the meetings.
Will we
Next,
be throwing stuff?
no. Be cordial.
That's only with the zoning commission.
We're the darlings of the Akron Township. That's true. Well, next on the agenda is the review of record and findings of fact and conclusions of law regarding the Knez variance application number 2017-8. Turn this over to the legal department.
Thank you very much. As I believe the board is aware, the applicant, Knez Construction, through their legal counsel, Gillian Hall, filed what's called an administrative appeal from the decision of the Board of Zoning Appeals to deny the requested variance regarding the riparian setback and the disturbance of soil areas. And as a result of which, when the appeal is filed, the body that made the decision, in this case the Board of Zoning Appeals, is required to prepare findings and conclusions of fact to explain and justify why, in fact, they made the decision they did. And secondly, At the same time, the board is required to present what's called the record, which is all the documentation and related documents that predated the actual public hearings themselves to the Court of Common Pleas. And that would include, in this case, the 2 separate transcripts of proceedings that had the public hearing occurred at. And they've already been transcribed, and of course, I put an editorial about how brilliantly they were transcribed by our court reporter in the record as well. And those documents, together with the findings of fact and conclusions of law, have to be submitted to the court within 40 days. Now, I took a 30-day extension because we were kind of jammed up with things. So it's actually due tomorrow now. And by the way, as an aside, I apologize for the delay in getting the conclusions over to you because they actually became far more lengthy than I thought they would. As a matter of fact, I told Heather this morning that it was my intention to have them over there by noon. And I was only off by 5 hours on that, I think. So
Not bad.
yeah, so I apologize for that. The findings of fact and conclusions of law, number 1, are based on my review of the transcript. I really tried to include, but summarize, every witness that testified, of which, as the board is more aware than I, since I was not at those 2 meetings, was extensive. So they're all summarized on that, including, at the end, the Duncan versus Middlefield factors that were discussed, and actually largely by Brandon in going through the process of that. So to ultimately conclude that the applicant did not file, or I'm sorry, did not present enough evidence to justify the practical difficulty standard to grant the variance in that. So, and then I also have an indexing of all the records that are relevant to this that Heather will sign. That was part of the record, including I itemized each of the seemingly, I think it was from Exhibit I to Exhibit MM that was presented to you right at the end of the hearing almost, along with the earlier packets of exhibits. Every exhibit that was presented, including the photographs that were presented by the adjacent property owner, are all part of the record that's going to go up on the appeal of that. And then just as an overview for your information, after the record's submitted, the appellant, which in this case would be Dinesh, has 30 days to file a brief stating why the Board of Zoning Appeals decision was not proper. And then we have a corresponding period of time to file our brief in support of the Board of Zoning Appeals decision. And then lastly, there's a reply brief period for the appellant again, Dinesh, to again make comment about any information that we put in our brief in that. So I think that's kind of the overview of it. Again, what's before you are based on the exhibits, and secondly, the public hearing comments and subsequent discussion on both the April and May public hearing meetings on the variance request. So
I would move that we accept and adopt Mr. Lucas's well summarized, well written, and very well prepared findings and conclusions of fact.
Second?
I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, that was it. It was a socially awkward pause. I'm glad you filled it. I know the court reporter was like, what am I going to do now?
So the question is on the approval of the facts and findings and conclusions of the law regarding the Gnez variance application number 2017-8. A yes vote supports the facts and findings that have been presented to the board this evening. No vote does not accept them. Heather, can you please call a vote from the board?
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Ms. Sherrill?
Yes.
Mr. Dines?
Yes.
Mr. Valente?
Yes.
Mr. Dowling was
Not
not
here.
at that meeting, so I don't
Skip was.
know if he would be abstaining.
It's abstain.
Right.
Abstain.
That's correct.
Okay. The record and findings have been approved by the board and accepted. Thank you for all your hard work.
Oh,
putting this together.
you're most welcome, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely.
All right. Last thing on our agenda is the approval of minutes from July 12th, 2017. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Any additions or deletions to the minutes from anyone? Nothing?
Excellent job.
Jim's not here.
Okay. The question is on the approval of the minutes from July 12th. The yes vote approves the minutes and no vote does not. All in favor of approving the minutes as written, say yes.
Yes.
Aye. The minutes have been approved for July 12th, 2017. Our next meeting is for the Board of Zoning Appeals is September 13th, 2017. The meeting for August 9th, 2017 is now closed to the public. Thank you.